Good evening, everyone. Physically here and also joining us from abroad, from the US, from Europe. Welcome, everyone. Let's start. I will have a brief, very brief intro, and then we'll have some blessings from three speakers, and then we'll go to the main course, which is the company's presentations and the competition, the startup competition. So we all know, climate tech is on the agenda, is on the global agenda. Clean tech was also on the agenda a decade ago. I think for all of us that has been in this sector for a while, for a decade and a half, I think that there are enough signals to believe that it's here to stay. It's not going to be a wave, a fashion that now it's on the hype and then it will go down. But even if so, the problems that are related to climate change are here to stay, regardless of an investment fashion that takes place in a certain point of time or not. So for capital, looking for good solutions that can make good economic impact and profit and environmental and impact in sustainability terms, this is a very exciting arena. Also, of course, we see what's going on with the Biden administration supporting it. The EU is supporting it very, very strongly. Glasgow might have been a bit disappointing for some, but the direction and the process is clear. And within climate challenge, technologies, of course, are taking already and will further take a major and central role. And in that respect, with humility, I will say that since we are in Israel and I'm an Israeli, so I will say it with humility, we believe that the Israeli innovation ecosystem can significantly contribute the world in its fighting, in addressing the global climate challenges, and it's not only me saying, it's also our politicians and our companies and investors, and it's our prime minister in Glasgow also was mentioning it about the impact that the Israeli technology can potentially do in the climate arena. And some of you have been involved in the internal processes in the government also. The government is taking it very, very seriously in taking action. But of course, the ones that will do the things are the companies and technologies and the private sector together with the support and the framework that will be designed by the government. So with that to say, I want to invite our first speaker, speaking about government, ינון אלרועי, Vice Director General of Ministry of Economy. Ministry of Economy has been supporting energy tech, clean tech for at least from 2008 that I'm aware of, but also before, but in a very structured way, at least since 2008. And I think has achieved interesting, good results. But let's hear from ינון אלרועי, the perspective of the ministry as of today. Where does it stand today and where is it heading to?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Gil. Always a pleasure. Tell you a secret, Gil and myself were on the same cadet course on the Ministry of Economy and Industry, so always happy to meet with him, and not necessarily in Paris. Eilat is even better. So I'm very happy to be here tonight. I want to greet our partners, all the organizers, Dorit Bennett, CEO of the Eilat-Eilot Renewable Energy Initiative, Eldad Shaviv, Executive Director, EnergyCom, the Energy Innovation Community, Ofir Gome, CEO of Teva Capital, Ifat Alon Pearl, Director of Blue and White Administration at the Ministry of Economy and Industry, dear friend Eitan Yudilevich, the Director General of the Bird Foundation, dear judges, and of course, entrepreneurs, investors, dear community members, and good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining us. I'm delighted to open the EnergyVest startup competition as part of Eilat-Eilot Conference for Renewable Energy. the place where Israeli energy industry meets its potential collaborators in Israel and abroad. What did I do? Thank you. EnergyVest is a unique event that allows investors from all over the world to be exposed to leading Israeli renewable energy breakthroughs through the strategic investments and partnerships. Us at the Ministry of Economy, we see the energy sector as an economic growth engine, and therefore initiated EnergyCom-IL, the innovation community, together with our partners in the Ministry of Energy, the Innovation Authority, and both Eilat-Eilot Renewable Energy Initiative and the Israeli Association for Smart Energy, which won the tender to operate this community. It is a partnership of which we already see fruits. The founding of this community is part of the strategy developed by the Ministry of Economy and Industry to encourage Israel's economic growth, and includes the establishment and management of innovation communities in a variety of fields, including education, digital health, smart transportation, construction, agriculture, and more. By the way, today we announced together with the mayor of Eilat the kickoff of a new community. How do we call it? Aquaculture. How naturally the best place. Lior Kunitsky. Erev Tov. The main goal of the innovation communities is to maximize cooperation between all stakeholders in specific ecosystem. This event today shows the diverse and vibrant ecosystem of the energy sector. Just a few weeks ago, as Gil mentioned, we heard Prime Minister Bennett speak at the Climate Conference in Glasgow, speaking about the commitment of Israel for 0% emissions by 2050, and this is clear to everyone that a quick transition to renewable energy is needed. Therefore, there's also government, or taking into account also the government decision that was taken in October 2020 to promote renewable energy in the electricity sector, a decision that set targets for the transition to renewable energies of 20% by 2025 and 30% by 2030. The Ministry of Economy sees these goals as an opportunity to leverage the energy sector to be growth engine in the Israeli economy. We put efforts in holding pilots within Israel in order to turn the state of Israel into better site for energy solution technologies, which will lead to better quality of life to the citizens, lowering the price of electricity and fuel, and eventually to improve environment we all live in, as well as to create more jobs, move forward the technological companies, and contribute to improving the economy. We believe that through government investment in the field of energy that add on private investment, strong companies will grow in Israel and will affect Israel's energy sector for the benefit of all citizens, as well as take a significant part in the global energy revolution. I would like to thank all our partners and all participants for continuing the fruitful cooperation. Personally, I'm curious to see which startup will win the competition and wish you all much success. Hopefully, you will all enjoy the conference and produce a lot of collaboration and business. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you very much, Inon. We'll turn to our next speaker, Ophir Gomez, CEO of Capital Nature. Capital Nature, which today I work with, has been, but today for the last decade, that's why it's easier for me to say the following sentence, has been, I think, in the last decade, one of the most successful early stage investors in sustainable energy, sustainable mobility, with really amazing results in a very tough decade for the clean tech, but with a vision, with strong commitment of the shareholders, and with a very good team that was doing the job. So I think that it showed the result. So this is the past, but Ophir, let's hear from you. Where are we going from the investor perspective to the future?
Thank you, Gil. I did not go to the same cadet course as Inon and Gil did, but I'm going to say very similar things to what Inon was saying. which is, I think, interesting that, from the governmental sector and the private sector, at the end of the day, we're getting to the same conclusions. So good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here addressing all of you participants in the 2021 Eilat-Eilot EnergyVest Renewable Energy Conference. I want to thank everybody here today, the organizers, my fellow judges, and the brave participants, which I've only seen a few until now. The last time we were all gathered here in Eilat was 3 years ago. Since then, it seems that the world has experienced several awakenings. Aside from COVID-19 and its massive implications, we're living in the midst of a surreal global change. Fires in Australia, floods in Germany, snow in Hawaii, even that took place, and more close to home, a seemingly never-ending Middle Eastern summer has given us all an eerily realistic dimension of the word's climate change in its negative format. However, as we begin to experience the very real implications of this frightening phenomenon, a revolution to combat these changes is taking place at full force. This revolution has never received as much attention as it is now. Leading the fight in this critical transition from our dependence on fossil fuels to clean energy and alternatives. Within the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, SDG number 7 states that we must ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy to all by 2030. It is no secret that global energy usage is to increase significantly in the coming years. Energy is now being demanded by more people for greater purposes, whether to power infinite data centers or the surge in number of EVs across the world. This gives us less than 9 years to not only develop reliable renewable energy sources, but to ensure global access to them. This is no small task. As Capital Nature's CEO, an organization, as Gil was mentioning, that has been actively committed to investing in breakthrough technologies for a decade now, I'm extremely proud of our contribution and commitment to this effort thus far. Over the last 10 years, we've invested in companies now present in nearly all continents, companies that have breaking records in their ingenuity to provide renewable energy solutions to the world at large. For those of you who made it to the Ogwen's exciting inauguration ceremony earlier today and witnessed the impressive advancement taking place, that's just one example of the type of innovations that we're committing for the long term and to nurture. However, addressing the climate crisis inevitably extends beyond renewable energy, just like Yinon was also mentioning, and it extends to carbon neutrality and beyond, which is the reason why we have shifted to a more holistic approach. We believe that this transformation will enable us to foster an even greater positive influence. We have a wide range of companies here with us today, from energy decarbonization through sustainable mobility, construction tech, and circular economy. This diverse spectrum is a testament of the transition from purely clean tech and renewables to the holistic domain of climate tech. According to BCG, approximately a third of the emission reduction goals that are required in order to reach net zero can only be achieved through technological innovation, much of which has not been developed yet. 1/3. This is a call for action for us, and it calls for ingenuity and innovation. The Israeli type, the disruptive type. Over the last several decades, our little country has led the world in tech innovations in unimaginable ways. We are currently in the midst of a new dawn with this ecosystem as we see it. The world is counting on our academics, researchers, entrepreneurs, and investors to put out the fires, to drain the floods, to bloom the deserts once again, to become the climate tech nation. That is why we are all gathered here today. The very people, today and tomorrow, the very people capable of creating, investing, and harnessing groundbreaking Israeli climate solutions, of creating this reality, are sitting here in this room and the other rooms as well. It is with this sentiment that I hope that these 2 days will foster new synergetic connections, strengthen existing relationships, and lead to great realization. Thank you very much, and good luck to the participants.
So we've heard the government, we've heard the investor perspective. Now we'll hear from a very special company, and one of the reasons that they are very special is because they're here from the Arava, TruckNet. TruckNet was one of the companies that started in Capital Nature as one or two people, one person, Hanan, with a PPT, with some ideas, and it climbed the ladder until the place where they are today, already with initial sales, and with IPO and the Israeli stock traded in the Israeli Stock Exchange, and again, all from here, from the Arava, from Eilat. So Hanan, please.
Hi, everyone. I have 5 minutes. I make it 3 minutes in English to everyone, and then I say sorry. I make 2 minutes in Hebrew to the startups. My name is Hanan. I am the CEO of TruckNet Enterprise. What is TruckNet and why we create TruckNet? 30% of the truck on the road are empty. This is statistic from the OECD. It means that 37 gigaton of GHG emission come from that industry. Our solution is to find a way to create a fleet of trucks. Like that, we can find empty truck that are available and match them in perfect match to cargo. I create the company in 2016. We have today 500,000 trucks that connect to our system. We work in office in Paris, in Pitești in Romania, Tel Aviv, and Eilat. In the last March, we make IPO in the stock exchange in Israel, in Tel Aviv, and today, the first time, our valuation is 200 million shekel. And this is my story. Now I want to make it in Hebrew. לכל 10 סטארט-אפים שנמצאים פה. אני בחיים לא זכיתי באף תחרות. אמיתי, לא זכיתי. העסק שלי לא מספיק סקסי. אני באתי עם הפלטפורמה שאמורה לעשות sharing economy model data למשאיות, ואז אסף, שהוא גם בא מאותו בית בקפיטל נייצ'ר, מבלייד, הגיע עם רחפנים. תמיד הרחפן יותר סקסי מפלטפורמה. לגבי הגיוס של הכסף שלי, אתם חייבים לשמוע את הסיפור. אני ב-2015 רצתי ל-300-400 משקיעים. לא הצלחתי לגייס שקל. פגישה ועוד פגישה ועוד פגישה, וזה לא עבד. בסוף 2015 עשיתי פיבוט לנושא של הקיימות. הגעתי לוועידת האקלים עם הכסף האחרון שהיה לי בקופ 21 בפריז. בלילה האחרון ישנתי בשדה התעופה, למה כבר לא היה כסף. הייתי צריך לישון בשדה התעופה. חזרתי עצוב לגמרי, למה כמו שאתם מבינים לא גייסתי שקל. אבל הייתי בוועידת האקלים. למזלי היה ערב אחד בלילה כלכלי, שהיה שם מישהו שדיבר, ונתן לי את האפשרות לדבר. חזרתי הביתה, הגעתי לאטליז, הלכתי לעשות קניות ביום חמישי. הגעתי לאטליז, אילן בא ואומר לי באטליז, וואי, איזה כבוד, היית בוועידת האקלים, ראיתי. אמרתי לו, כן, ככה בצניעות, לא אגיד לו שלא הצלחתי כלום לעשות שם. יצאתי לאוטו. פתאום הולכת אחריי מישהי בשם דורית. דורית פה? המנכ"לית של אילת-אילות. אומרת לי, בוא רגע, אתה, מה עשית בוועידת האקלים? אמרתי לה, תשמעי, הלכתי, עשיתי. אמרתי לי, תבואי ליום ראשון בבוקר למשרדים ביודבתה. הגעתי למשרדים ביודבתה, אומרת לי, תקשיב, יש קרן השקעות שקוראים לה קפיטל נייצ'ר, והם מממנים מה שנקרא את הפעילות באילת-אילות, ובוא תגיש בקשה, לך תדע, אולי תצליח. אמרתי לה, עזבי, אני לא מאמין, הרשות לחדשנות, עד שנקבל את הכסף, אין סיכוי. לא רציתי להגיד לה שאין לי כסף לשבוע לחיות בכלל, כאילו, זה לא אפשרי. נועם אילן כאן? גם היה. אז יש גם את נועם אילן. הוא למעשה קיבל את המשימה להכין את החברה על מנת להגיע לוועדת ההשקעות של קפיטל נייצ'ר לקבל את הכסף. הגעתי לנועם אילן למחרת, הוא אומר לי, תשמע, שבועיים אין סיכוי שנעשה את זה. אמרתי לו, אתה יודע מה, בוא נלך על זה, מה שיהיה, מה יכול להיות. שבועיים לאחר מכן הגענו לוועדת השקעות בקפיטל נייצ'ר, לא הספקתי לחזור עוד לאילת חזרה, קיבלתי טלפון תוך שעה, יש לך 2.5 מיליון שקל. אבל אתם סטארט-אפים ואתם יודעים שה2.5 מיליון שקל נגמרים ומהר. 18 חודש רצתי לחפש עוד פעם, תוך כדי הכסף מהמדען, שקיבלנו עם קפיטל נייצ'ר, התחלתי לחפש את המשקיע. הפעם פגשתי, לפי ה-CRM במשרד, 2,500 משקיעים. לא גייסתי שקל. לא הצלחתי. לאחר 2,500 משקיעים שפגשתי, יום למחרת הגיע אלינו למשרד בן דוד של מישהו שעובד, שבוע לאחר מכן הוא השקיע 1,000,000 אירו בחברה. בספטמבר האחרון נגמר לנו שוב הכסף, ויש קוביד, אי אפשר לגייס כסף. את הכסף כן גייסנו, למה הלכנו ל-IPO בבורסה בתל אביב, וגייסנו במרץ 20 מיליון שקל. שורה תחתונה, תמשיכו להאמין, זה מה שעושה את הכוח, והכי חשוב, מכל מי שנמצא פה, הסטארט-אפים, 10 סטארט-אפים, אתם הכי חשובים. אנחנו קיבלנו, אני, בלייד, אלקטרויון, קיבלנו את הצ'אנס לממן את הפעילות שלנו. אני עדיין לא חושב שאנחנו מצליחים, יש לי 500,000, אבל צריך גם טרנזקציות. אני מקווה מאוד שרק בזכות הכוח שלכם והנחישות כפאונדרים, אתם תוכלו באמת לקבל בסוף את הכסף, ותזכרו תמיד, צריך להמשיך לחלום, ואם יש ספר שקוראים לו הסוד, אז תזרמו עם הסוד. זה בסוף מגיע. תודה.
And at the end of the day, it all depends on the entrepreneur. Needs to be stubborn and not to give up, to wait for the one yes. So now I think we are going to the main course, which is the startup competition. Just before that, we'll shortly present our panel of judges. So Ofir Gome, CEO of Capital Nature, Dr. Etan Yudilevich, CEO of the Bird Foundation, Hila Lipman, the Clean Tech and Infrastructure Director from the Israel Export Institute, Ifat Alon Perl, Director of Blue and White Administration at Ministry of Economy, Dr. Gideon Friedman, Chief Scientist, Ministry of Energy, Galit Ofer, partner at Shibboleth Law Office, and last, Tzvia Baron, the Director of Innovation at Israel Electric Corporation. So now we'll start with the companies. In sake of time, I think that the judges, basically the companies were given 7 minutes plus 2 minutes for Q&A. I think the judges will agree with me that if the companies will succeed to make their main messages in 4 or 5 minutes, they will get extra points. So try to do it, because we have 10 startups. Try to get to the points. Where is your core technology? Where is your core advantage? What's about the business model? Where do you have your unique offering, value add? Go to that point. Try to make it short, and we'll start from the first one. Createra, Daphna, please. I guess it's Daphna, right? Yes. Createra creates a circular economy solution for construction using deep material science and mathematical models. This I had to write, otherwise I wouldn't remember, of course. For particles distribution. At the end of the day, in terms of impact, achieving up to 90% of energy saving related to building materials. Daphna, please.
Thank you, Gil.
And next one, just so you get closer and be prepared, and we use less time for the exchange, crystalline semiconductor. That will be the next one. Please, Daphna.
Hello, everyone. I'm Daphna, and thank you for the opportunity to present to you all Createrra Innovations. Createrra develops and manufactures low-carbon, circular products for the construction industry. Our first product category are wall tiles, such as these, which are manufactured at very low temperatures. This industry, this market, is a very large market. It's a 19 billion euro market. So clearly, decarbonization in construction is critical to meeting our climate goals. And there are many mitigation strategies that are very important. Many of them were discussed here. Createrra's approach is in reducing the need for energy, reducing pollution, and reducing the use of fossil fuels while maintaining constructive strength and actually increasing thermal resistance, which lowers the energy consumption in the built environment. So the challenges in this industry are that all of the manufacturing is very, very highly dependent on fossil fuel combustion. And this, of course, creates a lot of pollution. In addition, at very, very high temperatures, which are required for manufacturing, there is a decomposition of the carbonates that are naturally embedded in the raw materials. And of course, the industry is also concerned with resource depletion and with waste. And this problem is increasing, as we know that the building stock will be doubled by 2060. Createrra's solutions are suitable for precast products, small-size precast products. We begin with our decorative tiles. Our decorative tiles are produced at our pilot plant in Israel and are going to large-scale manufacturing in Portugal in 2022. So these are products that are already on the market. We are also towards the end of the development of products for outdoor cladding, which are tiles that are weather-resistant for any kind of conditions. And we are advancing in the development of a masonry block. So how is Createrra different? First of all, Createrra started with a circular approach in which we would take all of the end products and be able to bring them right back into our production process. And Createrra targets the most pollutive element in the manufacturing process, which is, of course, the high temperature combustion. Createrra's products reduce the manufacturing temperatures from as high as 1600 degrees to never exceeding the boiling point of water. So we never exceed 100 degrees. We are also able to upcycle quite a lot of waste materials or surplus materials from other industries in our products. This is the Createrra team. So Createrra was founded by Adital Ella. She's an expert in sustainability and industrial design with a family background in construction. Liat Applebaum and our backgrounds are in financial management, strategic planning, and business development. And we have a scientific team with expertise in materials engineering and in structural mechanics, as well as in building materials. And other areas of expertise we have in our team include the market experts, sustainability, and financial experts. Our technology is a combination of many different disciplines. So we start with a very deep material science and apply unique mechanical engineering solutions to create very strong products with very unique properties. This is a patent-protected product. And we also apply analytical solutions to reach very smart particle distribution. And this is the result. So as you can see, we're able to reduce 92% of the pollutive emissions in our tiles. And this is a very highly scalable process. And this market, it's a big market. The tile market is a 2 billion euro market in Europe alone. And it's a market that's in distress. This market is under a lot of pressure from the rising gas prices and also from the need to mitigate the carbon emissions, which is going to add costs into this industry. whereas Createra's solutions and manufacturing process is able to fit into existing manufacturing facilities, making it a win for both sides. Our goal is a block. Our goal is to develop a masonry block, such as this example I have here, but of course in full size. This would be the ideal application of our materials and technology because of the very high thermal insulation that Createra is able to create, lowering the energy consumption in the built environment. Our technology is patent protected. We have patents in USA, in Israel, in Europe, and we're actually towards the end of our application process in China. We have a lot of IP and a strategy to protect and grow it. So to grow from a local Israeli company into an international company, we are connecting with existing market partners. So we're working with existing manufacturers and commercialization partners that are very well established. And we're beginning in Holland, in UK, in Belgium, and in Portugal. We are also using the labs that are validating products that are well accepted in this industry. So we have signed our first license agreement and commercialization agreements, and our short-term goal is 10 million square meters out of the production facility, the line that's being set up for Createra in Portugal. There is a lot of room for growth, both in market share, in extending to new markets, and of course in future products. The company was founded in 2015 and was heavily supported by grant awards, both from the Israel Innovation Authority and from Horizon 2020, over 2.5 million euros. And we have been able to install a lot of product in Israel and build up our IP portfolio, and as I said, to sign a license agreement, which is a very important milestone for us. So that's it about Createra. Createra is dedicated to developing the most sustainable, low energy, low carbon products that provide high constructive properties and high thermal insulation. And questions are welcome. We'd love to tell you more about Createra. Thank you very much.
If there are any questions from judges, please, Guido.
First of all, what do you need? And you didn't talk about the cost very much. You said it's affordable or something.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, yes. Our bill of materials makes us very attractively priced. And with what we're seeing happening with gas prices and mitigation costs, we believe that we'll actually have more cost advantages going forward. What we need, well, we need everything a company needs to grow. So we need to grow our lab. We need to grow, we would like to extend beyond the license agreement and commercialization agreements, which were signed, into new geographies. And that requires growth, which requires funds. So we're in the process of a financing round, and we're looking to raise more capital.
You didn't say anything about the competitors. Can you say a word about competitors, please?
Yes, we're actually looking straight at the mainstream market for ceramic tiles, for building bricks, for blocks. So our competitors are all the products that are all around us. But we have this added value in having the only process that we're aware of manufacturing at less than 100 degrees Celsius in a process that can actually be fully energized by renewable energy. So we don't require any fossil fuels at scale.
Any further questions from the judges? No, so thank you very much, Daphna.
Thank you, everyone.
Good luck. So now our next speaker is Crystalline Semiconductor. It's a company in the diamond semiconductor technology. Their technology can be the base for providing next generation diamond-based PV reaching efficiencies of up to 40%. Can I work for you? Yeah, do you do it good? Okay, lots of success.
I will explain. Thank you. Good. This is the clicker, yes. Okay, good evening. I'm Ariel. I'm the CEO of Switzerland. I will try to explain a very complicated company in few words and in few minutes. So our company is in, as it said, in the diamond semiconductor technology. And so why diamond? All the world around us is full of crystals in electronics, in PV cells, in batteries. But today, all the batteries, everything is made of basically from silicon and other crystals. But diamonds are known as the best crystals in many ways and deemed to be, and everybody knows that they are the next generation of electronics, semiconductors, and energy. You can see here a comparison chart that describes the benefits of a diamond, the basic benefits. There are a lot more properties, but the diamond is better, but you can see it in electron mobility, in thermal conductivity. Diamond is better, and it's much better compared to any crystal that's known in the market today. So if diamond is so good, why it is not used in the industry today? For today, there are two known industrial systems that can create diamond. One is HPHT, one is CVD. I won't drill down into the details, but the problem with those systems that it's a slow rate of deposition, the production is very expensive, and the diamonds, from the reasons written on the slide, are not fit to industrial, electronical, energy applications. So we opened our company in order to overcome this obstacle and to create next generation of electronics made of diamonds. We are a group of 4 professionals. We have 1 patent on our system. We were supported by Israel Innovation Authority and the EAC, European Community. We selected as one of the best startups in many competitions. We won competitions, but we didn't get money from that. And we have, for today, a laboratory with operating systems, 2 prototype operating systems to create those materials. Basically, it's complicated, but our method is to evaporate rich carbon gas inside the plasma ball. In thermodynamic conditions called self-assembly conditions, we implement diamondoids, very small grains of diamond that created inside the plasma ball on the substrate, and the pure lattice of diamond is becoming or is growing on the substrate. And if we're adding another gas like boron or nitrogen into the system, we are doping the substrate, and and the diamond is a semiconductor. It's a special rate of doping. So our breakthrough, we can grow diamonds in very rapid, very quick manner, because we're not using atoms, we're using building blocks, we're using grains of diamond. It's a controllable process. No nucleation seed. Any system today that creates diamond needs nucleation seed, very small grain of diamond, to grow the diamond on this seed. You can't find seeds of 6-inch like as needed in the industry, so you can't grow diamonds for industrial manner. The crystal size is controllable. We can grow crystals 6-inch. It's according to industrial requirements. The production is top quality. The system is eco-friendly, and the price per film, per wafer, is competitive and actually very low. By using those materials, we can create new generation of materials to electronics that can be 5 times better compared to any silicon transistor, conduct heat or deal with heat 20 times, multiple the heat conductivity by 22. We can go into nano-dimension scale, and the working temperature is better compared to any crystal used today in the semiconductor industry. By using those materials, we are creating, and we started to analyze it, PV cells, solar cells to create energy. Those solar cells made of thin films of diamond, doped diamond, will be much higher efficiency. It will more, according to our examination, according to tests made, it will be more than double of today silicon-based PV cells, more than double. But will be cost-effective, so you can produce them in mass production. The production is environmental friendly, it's also important. They will be highly durable, no wear and tear, and they can deal with heat. For today, any silicon PV cell suffer from heat degradation when it's heated by the sun. Those diamonds, those films won't suffer from heat degradation. You can see here a comparison chart between common PV cells used in the industry. The silicon cell, it's the simple one. The gallium arsenide cell, it's more expensive. And our PV cell in the right, you can see that our PV cell is much, much better compared to any other cell. Our commercialization strategy, we're not going to open a factory because it's expensive. It's not for a little company. We are in contact with major players in the market like Intel, Toso from Japan, Kyocera from Japan, Infineon from Germany, and those companies are looking for such materials. We're going to join venture with them to license, to provide licensing. This is the team. We are all co-founders, professionals in engineering, systems, business management, and physics. So thank you, and waiting for your questions.
Thank you very much. Any question from the judges? Eitan.
I can hear you, it's okay.
Can you be more specific about applications? I'm not sure you want.
Yes, of course. The basic applications are to use the materials itself to reduce heat in electronic devices. That's the reason Intel or Toso are interested in those materials, because diamond, as I said, can deal heat or to transfer heat better compared to any other material. So companies like Intel or Toso want to use those materials in order to reduce heat in electronic devices. Furthermore, you can use those materials as PV cells, and our intention in the future, we have designed, especially, it's not in the presentation, but we designed an energy storage device based on doped with special doping. This is our secrets of innovation. We've doped carbon-based electrodes that can be much more efficient without charging recycles degradation, and green batteries, but we can charge them very quickly. So we are dealing with materials. When you're dealing with materials, you can use materials to many applications. The two basic applications in our system is going to be, first of all, to go to the electronic industry, as reducing heat in server rooms, so you don't need, you can reduce the use of air conditioning, and the secondary, the PV cells, but to produce electricity.
Any other question from the judges? So there was.
Thank you for the talk. You say that you can reach 40%
or more
PV efficiency, but the thermodynamic limit for a single junction under non-concentrated light is about 32. So can you elaborate on how you can exceed the thermodynamic limit?
We are using something called in physics quantum coefficiency, but I won't drill down to the basics of physics in our system, but we can overcome those obstacles. You don't believe it, so you can talk with me later after the conversation, and I'll contact you with my CTO, and he will explain to you, if it's not confidential.
I have a question.
Yes,
here.
Thank you.
Have you done any proof of concept with the plasma deposition system?
Proof of concept with deposition? Yes.
What were the results?
Results, what we can form diamond lattice without nucleation seed. This is a major breakthrough, because until our first prototype and our first thought was, or our first exams were to produce crystals, but based on peptides without nucleation seed. That was to see if the method is working. Later on, we started with diamond lattice.
Thank you very much. We'll continue to the next company since we are short of time. תודה רבה. So from from diamonds to construction, StructurePal, a company reducing over usage of concrete in the construction industry by AI. While Jonathan is getting up, I will just remind of our prizes, which is the first prize winner will get a 3-day fundraising tour to the UAE, sponsored by Capital Nature, and also a package of consultancy services by Shibolet Law Firm. And the second prize is a package of information support, business support, offered by the Israel Export Institute, and another package of advisory law hours by Shibolet. So thank you very much, and looking forward to continue. StructurePal.
Thank you, Gil. So, good evening, everybody. My name is Jonathan Azovsky. I'm CEO of StructurePal. And I would like to state that the construction industry is using too much concrete. If to be more specific, more than it should. And why? Because our structural engineers are over-designing our buildings. StructurePal is here to help those structural engineers eliminate that over-design. So just a few numbers about our industry, which is pretty amazing. 39% of the global CO2 emissions comes from our industry, the construction industry, and a quarter of that comes from the concrete industry. And by the way, concrete is the most used material on Earth for construction. Our emission in this case will be reduced roughly 15% from the concrete industry. So the problem is pretty easy for us in the construction industry. The fact that we have little engineers and less by the day, and we have more projects coming in because we're growing as a community and as a public. And the third problem, which is that a third of the cost of the project is its concrete structure. So what happens, structural engineers have to struggle, and that struggle leads them to unoptimized structures. That means they don't have time to make lean and optimized solutions, but just deliver solutions that won't collapse. Now that leads to incredible numbers, as you can see on the board, between 20 to 30% of extra use of concrete. And again, that translates into cold cash and friction between all the stakeholders in the project. So our solution in the metrics, first of all, let's talk about our users, the structural engineers. We want to reduce 50% of their time to begin with. With that way, we harness them into the project because they're not our clients. The developers, the project owners are. We're providing them with an integration tool, not changing their software, because if you know any engineer, you know that they don't want anyone to move their cheese, so we integrate. And moreover, it's an easy interface with zero learning curve, basically. That leads those structural engineers to a new output, a better output, a structure that is reduced by 15%, roughly 50%, and even more of cost of execution, volume, and the biggest number, which is up to 30% of CO2 emissions reduced from that single building. Now, the process is pretty simple. Structural engineers usually need to draft their projects. We don't let them do that. We say, instead of draft, specify the challenge. Let the AI look for the best solution for you. And the moment you have that, that same software will lead you and give you all the information you need as a BIM model, a three-dimensional model, automatically generated, a finite element model, so you feel comfortable that this building won't collapse, and a full report, a PDF report that will tell you exactly the cost schedule, and of course, how much carbon have you reduced for your client and for your world. In terms of accomplishments, we've been in the best accelerators here in Israel, even got awarded by Cemex Ventures and Vinci under the competition of construction tech worldwide. Again, these companies manufacture concrete, okay? And they gave us that prize. We have traction with the leading construction companies in Israel. The three of them have been proving our solution, and next month gonna become our clients even. And of course, cooperations with other startups, leading construction companies in the world, and of course, other structural engineers. In terms of a business model, again, easy, don't change anything for these guys. That means we charge by the square meter, roughly at the moment with our beta version, $1, something that the developers know how to measure, and they know the ROI pretty easy for themselves. In terms of the size of the market, we're building roughly the residential sector,
which is the sector we are at the moment challenging at the moment.
Roughly 850 million
square meters. That's our total available market, just residential, and there's more like the residential, high-rises, commercial, logistics, and so on. In terms of competition, that's the worst slide I have, because we are alone on this side. But again, remember, there's so many challenges in the construction industry that it's really hard to have startups that tackle all of them. So at the moment, when it comes to engineering optimization, we kind of on our own, but we have other companies that are more mature than we are.
Thank you very much
for
that sign.
That we are much more mature than we are, but they're optimizing architectural properties. But one day, they'll make
that leap
from that side to our side, probably.
In terms of the team, and this
is the pinnacle, we are structural engineers. Surprise, surprise. But the thing is that
different to other structural engineers,
we know how to develop software, how to code, how to implement AI.
We pride ourselves of having the biggest investors and professional investors from CVCs to VCs like Shikunu Binui, Shafir, are the biggest construction companies in Israel, together with the Innovation Authority in Israel and more VC. We pride ourselves an advisory board
that's all
without any equity
or any other incentive. One of the best professors on the Technion, a world-renowned professor, the CEO of Autodesk Israel, and a seasoned engineer, Avi Hakim, with more than 40 years of experience.
Guys, my name is Jonathan Lazovsky, and in 5 years' time, I pledge here in front of you to reach a reduction of that number
using our solution. But we are not going to do it by ourselves. We're going to help our competitors to help us reach that number. We need you, we need contractors, and we need basically anyone can open doors for us in the industry and worldwide.
Thank you very much.
We are in a seed round at the moment. Just saying. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Yes.
Question.
Yes.
Are there any?
Here. I'm asking here.
Are there any regulatory issues? How do you validate the model, the AI model, to make things happen and make sure that it works?
Okay, thank you for your question. What's your name, by the way?
Eitan.
So, in terms of regulations, as structural engineers, we know exactly the code and regulations that we need to work with, and they are all implemented in the software. That means that part of the parameters that the engineer have to supply to the system to work, it's the code and regulation. And that can be, from our side, that's one of the things that we actually mathemized, so the system or the AI can actually understand on its own.
So regulations are
already in, and every new territory we got in, we add new and more regulations and codes. For example, we at the moment we have Israeli code, the European, and the Canadian code as well.
Hi. My name is Tzvia. If you were interested. What is your business model? Where are you getting in? Is it license-based, or how are you going to do it?
It's paid by project model.
It's paid by square meter. That means the residential developer pays according to the size of his project.
In square meters of
floor, of course.
Gideon,
what is the stage of the software development in actuality
We're in beta version. That means the software is working, but we are providing it as a service at demand for our clients. That means they provide the same parameters, but we do it in-house, and 1 day or 2 days they have the result instead of 1 hour that they will do it by themselves with version 1 in the future.
In what sense can you validate the claim for 15% savings?
I couldn't understand.
In what sense can you validate your claim of saving concrete?
So as a process, when we prove our product, we usually, with a new client, what we usually do is ask them for a finished project, and we bench our solution in front of that project. That means we tell them, provide us with the solution you have, we'll run it through our system, and we'll provide you our solution, and you can make the choice to see who's better.
How many times have you done that?
Over, Yoav, where are you? Over 30, 35 already, 35 proof of concepts with, again, the leading construction companies in Israel.
Thank you very much. StructurePal, of course. more discussions. We're going to have the voice and the mask. It's like fun. We're going to have also more time. I remind you afterwards in the gala dinner, so companies of interest, you can also approach them during the gala dinner. Our next company is Silib. Silib develops innovative pure silicon anodes, replacing graphite. By doing that, enabling 40% improvement in battery capacity and, of course, extending EV driving range. Please, Silib, and then Bright Marriage.
I hope I got the right buttons. Good evening, everyone. So imagine this is your new Nissan Leaf, your new electric vehicle. Now you want to take a road trip going from San Francisco all the way to Yosemite Park. It's a 320-mile round trip journey. The only issue you have with your new Nissan Leaf, it could only go through 230 miles. And trust me, the way from that way, you don't have too many charging stations. So imagine your Nissan Leaf has the Silib battery technology that will give you 40% more range. Therefore, you go from 230 to 320, one charge, no range anxiety. So as you can understand, we're developing and commercializing innovative pure silicon for battery technology, lithium-ion battery technology. And as I said, it can give you 40% more energy, more range on your electric vehicle. About the management team, myself on the top, let's skip me. Dr. Tomer Zimrin, he's with me for many years. His expertise is in his PhD in electrochemistry, many years in battery development and electrochemical systems. The driving force. EV range, as we all know, is limited by battery capacity. I'm not telling you anything new here. Higher battery capacity, higher range, less range anxiety, and therefore higher adoption rate. Higher adoption rate means less internal combustion engines, therefore less CO2 footprint. Now, that's on the EV part, but our battery technology is not just for EVs. Wherever you have tight space and you need higher energy, whether it's consumer electronics, residential storage, this Silib will drive the solution. Now, today when you look at lithium-ion batteries, you use graphite. This is the most common material for anodes. Now, it reaches its limit. Now, if you want to increase the battery, you need to look for new materials and increase the battery capacity. Silicon can hold up to 10 times more lithium than graphite, but there's no free lunch. When you cycle silicon back and forth, you change the volume of the anode by up to 300%, and it cracks. That's physics. Bottom line, just using silicon as is will give you a rapid battery capacity degradation, which is no good. So here's where our solution comes into place. We have an innovative 3D structure, which are nano-sized wires on stainless steel mesh. This is, I hope you can hear me, this is what you can see in this picture here. And the space between the wires gives, or the room between the wires gives the battery or the anode the space to compress and decompress. As I said, that's physics, you cannot change that. You need to give the anode the ability to absorb the volume changes. We do that in a single-stage manufacturing process. It's 100% silicone, no catalyst, no additives, no alloying. Now, I'm coming from the battery. I've been in the battery technology for over 20 years. Trust me, this is the most challenging part. Taking a concept from a coin cell, lab scale, and scaling it up to what is called rolled cell or pouch cells like you have in your cell phone. This is what you usually have in an electric car, but much larger. This is where most technologies fail. And we were able to demonstrate this technology, retain the same capacity and the same performance when we scaled up to those two battery configurations. In terms of the technical advantages, we're looking at 2,000 milliamps per gram of silicone. That's over 5 times that of graphite. We demonstrated over 300 cycles. There's still way to go. In terms of energy density, 1,000 watt-hours per liter. That's over 300 watt-hours per liter more than traditional lithium-ion batteries. As I said, no binders, no catalyst, no additives, pure silicone. Manufacturing process is simple, straightforward, and in terms of cost per unit of energy, it's quite similar to the anodes you can find today in lithium-ion batteries. This is a competitive analysis. I was asked to put the slides. So without taking into all the nitty-gritty details, what I would like to say, 3 points. We do it in a single manufacturing process, we do it in a lower temperature, and we do it with higher silicon loading. All of that, at the end of the day, is translated into lower cost compared to what other in this industry are trying to do with silicon. Commercialization, we're not going to be a battery manufacturer. It requires too much funding, and it is capital intense. We're either going to license the technology or manufacture the anodes for the end user, which is the battery manufacturer companies. So with that, I would like to conclude. Getting 40% more range is not a dream, it's SILIB. If you would like to join the journey, I'll be happy to speak with any one of you after this talk. And last thing, I would like to thank Capital Nature and Abilion as our seed funders. Thank you. Questions?
Does your battery can be recycled in some way, or do you have any advantage upon other technologies in this aspect? At the end of the life of the battery?
In terms of the life?
Yeah. Can it be recycled in some way, or
recycle the battery?
Recycle the
Okay.
materials, or you know?
So when you look at battery recycling, the issue is not the anode, it's the cathode. That's where you have your precious metal, your cobalt, your nickel, and not friendly materials. So whatever way batteries will be recycled, same goes for us. I can tell you one thing, in terms of safety, silicon is safer than graphite, if it helps. If it gets me a couple more points.
Do you have any design partner or any collaboration with the battery manufacturer, or are you not in this stage?
It's too early.
At what stage are you?
I've been speaking with those players, and I won't mention any names, but you tell them we have new technology, okay, when can we get a sample of a battery running? So this is why we're here, to get to that point.
Okay, thank you very
Hopefully.
Thank you very much. So now, the next company, BrightMerge. Please, BrightMerge, multidimensional, multi-criteria microgrid optimization software. And then the next one, Luminescent.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for having me here. My name's Daniel Schwab, and I'm the CEO and founder of BrightMerge. We're an autonomous optimization platform for renewable energy microgrids. Now, we all have heard today the whole dream of microgrids. Eilat is the center of microgrid heaven for Israel. I'm so excited because I was here 3 years ago, and when I said microgrids, No one understood what I was talking about except for maybe Dr. Friedman and a few other people. Now, we today realize that this is the future. It's the lowest cost, most reliable and sustainable way to produce and manage energy. We have to optimize, though, for economics and reliability as well as sustainability. This is a multivariate problem and needs to be solved by highly sophisticated software. Just to understand the problem that we're dealing with and why we cannot achieve the dream that we all so desperately want. The first generation has been relatively simple to get to. Solar panels on a roof. The second, solar panels with a battery system. That's already getting a little complicated, and Excel sheets are starting to get difficult to manage. Now think about the tens and hundreds of thousands of engineers and financial people who have to model a system in order to justify the investment in these systems. Move up to third and fourth generation, the multivariate problem becomes extremely complex mathematically. And so we need entirely different tools and technology to solve these problems en masse. We need to do this en masse. This is not good enough for humans to be sitting on Excel sheets trying to figure it out. And not everyone can hire extremely expert data science and Python designers. So what we've done is to be able to optimize systems. Just to validate the problem, we can see that people are trying to do this around the world, and we're losing opportunity costs today because of the low cost of solar energy and battery in particular, and sophisticated technologies like microgrid systems. This is worth hundreds of billions of dollars in lost opportunity every day that we do not deploy these systems. So what's the solution? And why is BrightMerge the company to deliver this solution to the world? Well, our solution is fully automating the data collection, the simulation, optimization, and the visualization of the data so that decision makers can get the data in a way that they can understand it. How much money are they going to save if they convert their university campus or their town or their city or their industrial zone, commercial zone? How are they going to benefit immediately financially? How are they going to make sure that they're going to get reliable energy 24/7, 365, even better than what they're getting from the utility today? And thirdly, obviously, we want to get to zero carbon emissions. And so what we've created is a multivariate analytics engine that can do this much quicker, much low cost than what is currently available today. And we've taken an enterprise approach. So when we differentiate ourselves, we are very different from what is existing today that has come out of the university labs around the world. And so what we do is provide a portfolio approach to for energy companies who want to do this en masse and rapidly. And this can be achieved. Now, if you see here, just one example, but now think about a whole database of projects around the world. We can get to highly accurate systems and bring this price even lower than we're currently getting it to. But here you see the current load profile. So we create a snapshot of the energy use, the cost, the carbon content, and the reliability value of that particular property. And then we create a perfect digital model of that property. So now the customer knows what he's going to get if he invests $5 million or $50 million or $100 million, whatever they want to invest. They know at a high level of accuracy what they are going to get. And so it's worth their while to move forward. Decisions can get made much, much quicker. Skeptics can say, oh, I understand, I'm not going to lose money, I'm going to actually make money. Okay? And so think about all of the municipalities, all of the banks, all of the project developers who need these digital models in their hands today. And what we've done is we created an enterprise SaaS platform which is available through the cloud. We've created the infrastructure with the help of the Bird Foundation, with the help of the Israel Innovation Authority, with our design partners such as Arava Power and EDF and many others, Gazette Globes and many others. So we're working today with customers and we're proving this every day. Our cost curve is going down rapidly. Our time to market is going down very quickly. Now, just to go back again to the complexity, because a lot of people think this is simple, everyone can do this. Well, it's not that simple. I've spent many years in the trenches in the industry. I've spoken to the world leaders in data science and algorithm development, And so creating a model that can really optimize so that you can get maximum return on investment while achieving carbon zero and high reliability is not a very simple process. I won't go into the detail. Any questions, you can ask me later. We've developed modules that can support bidirectional EV charging. So now your battery in your car can also support your house as a provider of energy, very low cost, that's all optimized systems. As I mentioned, we're from day one have been in the trenches. I have been an entrepreneur for more than 15 years in the renewable energy project development industry around the world. I've developed projects with cumulative billions of dollars in South Africa and in America and elsewhere. And this problem exists everywhere. So we've got the team as well. Again, this is a massive problem. Microgrids exist around the world. For anyone who is not aware of that, there are tens of thousands of microgrids in the world today. And so this is just a question of scaling up. How quickly can you do it? Now, the team is not so simple to create, and we're fortunate to have the A team. I'm very grateful for my partners who've joined me in this mission. We have amazing software developers, algorithm developers, and we work day in and day out to provide this solution to our customers. We have a significant waiting list of customers. We're raising around $2 million under a safe structure, and we're going to raise our full seed round next year. And we look forward to having a great conversation with anyone who's interested to helping us achieve our goal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
Daniel, do you have already paying customers?
Yeah, so we'll do almost $70,000-$80,000 this year. Our customers pay us based on a subscription base plus a customer success and service. That is rapidly coming down. The more we automate, the less we need to charge for services. But our customers actually are happy to pay us because they're paying a lot less than what they would normally pay very expensive consultants. And so the more we automate, that's why we need capital. Automation is not a simple thing to create. So we need to make sure that we get the right product, and we're fortunate to have the right people to do that.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Just to end off, we do expect we've got a pipeline of around $300,000 of ARR. So that's next year, we would like to achieve about $500,000 in ARR with the capital that we need to raise.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Bright Merge, our next company, luminescent, innovative heat engine. I will not say more. I won't get complicated, please. The next one is Standard Carbon. Thank you.
Okay, so good evening. My name is Doron. And actually, the first time that I came to Eilat-Eilot, it was in 2008. And from then, for more than a decade, I was partner of EDF and Energy Novel, so we built together a lot of PV projects. So I know the industry very well of the PV. But 4 years ago, I come to the conclusion that if you want 100% renewable, so PV can be part of the solution, but not the solution. So in 2020, actually it's 18 months ago, I established a new company with my partner, Professor Kamel Rothschild. And this new company, what we are doing, it's a new disruptive heat engine. So what is heat engine? Heat engine, usually, you know, it's a steam turbine, but the problem with steam turbine is that it's huge. If you want efficient and low-cost heat engine, it's 100 megawatt steam turbine. What we know to do in our company, it's very small heat engine that can be less than 1 megawatt, even if you want less than 10 megawatt, but very low cost, very high efficiency. And today what we're going to present, it's actually, we have some application or some markets. We are totally game changer because everything is heat engine. And the applications that we're going to present today, it's actually the solar energy. We know to produce 24/7, all year long, low-cost solar energy. And now I will turn to Kamel to explain about the heat engine.
Thanks, Doron. So how can you present a disruptive technology in probably the most mature industry in the field? You know, this is the enabler for the industrial revolution, heat engines. So if you think about all other heat engines that you know, they are all made of gases, and gases behave like ideal gas. Now, if our challenge, like in the solar energy, to take the heat from the sun and run a heat engine on it, then you have a problem because the inherent heat capacity of gases is negligible. And also gases behave like ideal gas, which means that when let's say that you think about a steam turbine, you compress it to 100 bars, it starts to expand, it immediately cools down. It cools down, it stops to expand, stop the thermodynamic work. Actually, ideal gas is the best way to do the minimal possible thermodynamic work. This is what is called adiabatic. How to do the maximal possible thermodynamic work? By doing it isentropic. The fathers of heat engines, Carnot and Stirling, they say, we don't care about ideal gas. We want gases that when they expand, they maintain the temperature. If you make gases behave like Carnot and Stirling ask, and not like ideal gas, you solved the problem and you present something that is very different as heat engines. And this is exactly what we do. We take a nozzle. Nozzle is just a pipe, and we flow molten salt or our heat transfer fluid, could be also thermal oil, and we inject air bubbles into the nozzle. What happens is that each air bubble has a negligible heat capacity, while a very large surface area. So it starts to expand in the nozzle, cool down like ideal gas, but it cannot cool down because immediately it extracts heat from the heat transfer fluid, from the molten salt. So it takes the heat, return to its temperature, and continue to expand, and continue to expand, and continue to expand. As it expands, it accelerates the heat transfer fluid, the molten salt, and the outcome is a strong kinetic energy, just a strong jet at the exit of the nozzle. So we convert the heat and the pressure into kinetic energy, and in our lab, we have already above 90% of isothermal expansion, so I think this is the first true realization of a Stirling engine. Taking this nozzle and making a heat engine out of it, it's straightforward because it's look like it's just a kinetic energy fluid. This is like hydroelectric, or if you want a sprinkler. So this, our first proof of concept will be like 4 nozzles, rotating, pushing backward the turbine, and this turbine will generate enough energy to drive the initial compression of air, and the excessive energy will go to the electric motor. Such an engine, based on our experimental results, will give 40% at 500 Celsius, or in terms of Carnot efficiency, above 75% from Carnot efficiency. So if you want, you can scale it down with the temperatures.
So actually, in simple words, what Kamel just told us, that we have the most efficient, small, low-cost heat engine, and it's opened us a lot of markets. So everyone is looking, if we are going to our application in solar energy, everyone is looking for solution that will be green. It will be baseload, which means it can work 24/7. It will be dispatchable, which means that with the same capex, we can still generate green electricity, even if you have 1 day or 1 month without sun. So it has to be stable and low cost. We don't have this kind of solution. What we have, it's photovoltaic, which is amazing technology, but even with lithium-ion batteries, it's not stable and not dispatchable. We have the solar thermal, the CSP. It's have the potential to be dispatchable and stable, but it's complex to build, complex to finance. It's not efficient, so it's a dead technology. So how we do it? The Minister of Energy done a calculation that if we want 80% renewable, we'll need a lot of solar panels and a lot of lithium-ion batteries. This is one power station. And another power station will be the backup as gas power plant. But this combination will be expensive. It will be in 2050, 8 cents, and it's not green. What we can do in Luminescent, we can have the same combination, full baseload, full dispatchable, but in 4 years, in 5 cents. So how we can do it? Actually, we use a new, it's called the multi-tower. It's a known concept, but it's just a concept. In this concept, you have a lot of very small towers, and then the heliostat, the mirrors, are jumping from tower to tower as the sun is crossing the sky. In this manner, what you have double the efficiency and 50% of the cost. But it has a very big problem, because the problem of this technology or this concept that every tower needs small, efficient, low-cost heat engine, and this does not exist in the market. So this is the reason why you can deploy it. But with our heat engine, now we can deploy it, and this is exactly what we are doing. So if we will succeed to prove it, so we can generate 24/7, all year long, solar electricity, very low cost. And so for the first time, what we can actually bring to the table is a solution that can replace any kind of fossil power station And if you have a high load factor, so actually you also can generate green hydrogen for much lower cost. So this is our first, or this is the application of solar. We have another application, which is actually our first application, and this is the combined cycle for small heat engine and gas engine. This is the first application, and the second application will be the solar. I can tell you that we already work with Sandia. This is the national lab, the American National Lab. With DLR, this is the most prestigious institute in Europe for solar energy, and actually this is us.
Thank you very much.
So what are you doing with Sandia Labs?
In Sandia Lab, actually, we're going to build a pilot in New Mexico. We're going together to the DOE. We are waiting for the results. So we are waiting to result in the DOE. We just passed all the phase with the Horizon, so we're waiting also for the Horizon answer. So this is with Sandia. I really like all the idea of the multi-tower. It's actually fascinating because you have actually efficiency on the floor. You just need to take it. But to do the multi-tower, the enabler, it's the heat engine. You need, it's a must, a small heat engine, and this does not exist in the market.
Any other question? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Luminescent. Thank you, Luminescent, and now Standard Carbon, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, honorary judges and leaders in your fields. Thank you for being here tonight. My name is Shmuel Goldberg, and I'm the head of business development at Standard Carbon. Standard Carbon is essentially a company that captures carbon dioxide, converts it into renewable natural gas, and does all of this without changing the underlying infrastructure. Standard Carbon originally was created by our triumph vitae of leaders. Natan Shachar is the genius behind it, and he's the one that reverse engineered Elon Musk's idea to convert CO2 to renewable natural gas on Mars, on Earth. He's the one that thought, well, if Earth's going to be uninhabitable and we'll have to go to Mars, why don't we just stay on Earth and use the same solution? So this is what they've done. You see, ladies and gentlemen, our opportunity stands in the fact that you can't go on CNN these days, Bloomberg, The Economist, or Wall Street Journal, for that matter, and not find an article trending that day about climate change, about a new business that launched an IPO to do with carbon, capturing carbon. And as we all know from the COP26, 2050 is looming, it's coming quickly, and the world needs to change their infrastructure. Or so you thought, right? Well, we're here to tell you that infrastructure can stay. We're here to tell you that carbon dioxide is not so bad. Fossil fuels have lifted humanity, have taken us from the three, there was the noble people, there was the bourgeoisie, and then there was the average middleman. Below, in fact, he was just an average pauper, a farmer, and we're telling you it is based on fossil fuels that we have our GDP today. And for example, you can just look at China, and you can see that fossil fuels essentially elevated 800 million people within 40 years from below the poverty line to above the poverty line. So let me run through and let me show you what we have. On this screen, what you can see here, is our proof of concept. And essentially, this proof of concept is here to show you that CO2 can be converted to CH4, which is renewable natural gas. It's proven the technology works, and just alone in the proof of concept, we achieved an efficiency level of about 75%, which is insane. We know how to improve it. We know how to take it to 95. This was just the initial proof of concept. The first time we switched on the machine, that was our efficiency. Of course, where we come in is we essentially connect to any exhaust pipe in the world and capture the CO2 from it. And with this CO2, we create the renewable natural gas, and our patent is on this entire model. As you can see, it's only 3 by 2.35 meters, so it's relatively small, but it can be scaled to size. Essentially, if we had to, we could capture a cigarette's carbon emissions, or we can capture some of the world's biggest, let's say, the oil oil energy industry in Texas, we can capture their biggest producing. They're producing millions of tons of CO2 a day. Of course, our process requires electricity, and so we like to work with companies or countries, in fact, that have solar and wind power, and here, this is more on the process. You can see, what you see here is, number one, it's a closed loop system. It starts off where, number one, you polluting, you producing, you're burning your fossil fuels, and we come in, we capture the CO2. Now, we don't have a lot of time, so bear with me. I'm going to speak quickly. The CO2, we store it. Now, the CO2 stored, at the same time that we sequence the CO2 away from whatever else you were polluting with, we also capture water on the side as well as the heat. The heat is transmissible throughout the system. We keep it running the whole time. Very, very efficient system. Now, what we do is now we wait. We wait for intermittent energy such as solar, wind energy, or spot pricing. The second we have good spot pricing, for instance, in America, in New York, between the hours of 2 and 8 a.m. in the morning, you'll find that the energy is negative. So the second there's negative energy, that's where we jump in. We come in and we take the energy and essentially do electrolysis on our water that we kept to the side. And once we do this electrolysis, you'll find that we capture the hydrogen, but where we come in and what's special is this hydrogen's not kept. It's immediately enforced and fused together in a Saboteur reactor. The Saboteur reactor is old technology from 1912. It won the Nobel Prize. And what you'll find is that at no stage do we need clean hydrogen, no 99.9% for us. And number two, we're not looking to store hydrogen at any stage, so at no point is it combustible. Now, once you have all of this, you've taken your CO2 and you've taken this whole process of methanation, and you connect them together, you have your CH4. Your CH4, you can do three things with them. Number one, you can immediately reuse it as renewable energy. Number two, you can sell it back to the grid. And number three, you can store it. It's incredibly stable, unlike hydrogen, and can be stored indefinitely and used when it is efficient for you. These are just some of our competitors. We're running short on time, but just so you know what's out there, there's biomethanation, which is it's absolutely terrible to work with operationally and managerially, also with space-wise. Carbon capture, direct carbon capture, actually captured the world's attention for about 3 months this year. I don't know if you remember. But essentially, it's like telling your kids to pack away their dirty laundry and them sticking it underneath their bed. Makes it look nicer, but essentially doesn't do anything with the problem. Then you have hydrogen. Everyone remembers the Hindenburg. There's absolutely no infrastructure for hydrogen right now. And then we have solar and wind energy, which are great. But as you know, solar in England will give you 10 sunny days a year. And on the Gilboa, half of the year will be windy. These are just some of the things that we have managed to do. We started in July 2019. We raised money from the Israeli government. We've had first round seed funding. We're actually just closing our Series A for investors that are interested. We have all the patents. We have more patents on the way with really interesting technology. It's absolutely fascinating. And essentially what else is important is the Air Board of California, which are essentially the people that are the most stringent when measuring carbon emissions. They gave us the go-ahead and told us and guaranteed us that we are carbon zero. So if I can leave you with one thing, it would essentially be this. Number one, you don't have to wait to 2050 to be carbon zero. Number two, sorry, it's more than one thing. Number two, you can be carbon zero now. You can get renewable energy back from your carbon emissions. Number three, you don't need to change your infrastructure. Hydrogen is no longer a problem. And last and not least, we are the only company in the world that are offering to buy carbon. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Questions?
What is the cost of MMBTU of methane?
So that depends on the country that you're working with. So it varies. I can tell you in England, it is about 15 times higher.
Let's say it's zero cost of energy.
Sorry?
Let's assume zero cost of your electricity.
Okay, zero cost of electricity. So you want to know what the output is? So essentially, what we're doing is arbitraging between the energy pricing. Electricity prices basically are the most rapidly changing commodity prices in the world. You have spot pricing, and that changes every 5 minutes.
No, I'm asking what would be the cost of the
to build a machine?
MMBTU of methane, assuming zero cost of energy.
It depends on the current market.
In what? Okay. And
we arbitrage
without a cost, without a carbon cost at this point, or give me a number with
in Israel, in the US, in England. In England, it's 15 times higher than
Tell
the
me
US.
a carbon cost of $100 per ton. You know, it's.
So it depends on your country. Give me a country and I'll tell
Give
you.
me a carbon cost and give me a cost of the MMBTU of CH4.
It doesn't work like that. Any other questions?
Any other question? So thank you very much. Lots of success. And next, our next company, EV charging optimization for drivers and fleets. So I have time to read more. Optimal route of your daily schedule, taking into account your EV charging needs. They just completed a round with Chevron Technology Ventures, with Capital Nature, and with the Consensus Group from London. Nissan, please. And the next one is RoadSense.
Hi, everyone.
We have
my
three
name
more
is
to go.
Nissan. I'm the CEO of Make My Day. In Make My Day goal is very easy. It's to help electric vehicle drivers and fleet and make their life to be easier. So for that, we develop an EV charging optimization, both for the drivers and for the fleets. Today, the main barriers the main barrier to adoption to electric vehicle is the charging. Drivers and fleet still need to think about where can I find a charging station? When is the best time to charge the vehicle? What I do with my range anxiety, the long time of the charging in the public charging station, the different pricing, different charges. So charging is still a complicated issue. So we believe in Make My Day that we need to use a very unique data about the customer behavior, about the battery behavior, to understand the needs of the fleets. Once I know the agenda of the drivers and for the fleets, I'm also getting data from the vehicles of the battery status in real time and for the charging station in the local area of the drivers and of the fleets. I'm taking all this data to the unique algorithm we develop, and then I can analyze it and provide back to our customers with a full solution regarding the charging. So, for example, the driver now can get an optimal route for the whole day, including the charging. We will lead him to the charging station on his route. We will book for him the charging for the time he will arrive, so you don't need to wait if someone else is charging. We'll tell them how much to charge. Sometimes you don't need to charge 100%. You can charge only 20%, and you can save time and money. So in the end, the driver can get the optimal route in real time and don't need to fear about the charging anymore. Let's talk about fleets. Today, there is a huge trend of fleets are shifting to electric vehicle, mostly because of two main reasons. One is the CO2 reduction that they are commit, and the second is the cost reduction. But those companies don't have the tools to how to make the shift, how to shift to electric vehicle, and how to manage the fleets. So this is exactly what we do in Make My Day. We provide the fleets a routing, charging, and scheduling optimization. First, we help them to shift to electric vehicles by using our calculator that actually tell them how much money they will save from shifting to electric vehicle, how much CO2 they will reduce, what kind of vehicles they need to bring, how many charging stations, and much more. And then after they have now electric vehicle in the fleet, we do a charging optimization for the whole fleet, and we provide them positive ROI from day one. All our solutions can be implemented and integrated very easily. We are a B2B company, so we can use our algorithm and into the infotainment system of the vehicle, or you can use the algorithm in your own existing solution, like the application, or you can use our application as a white label, and if you are a fleet, we can implement into your own software management system. Our business model is very easy. We work as a B2B license deal with companies like energy companies that operate charging stations, OEMs, Tier 1s, and commercial fleets. This is some of the traction that we are doing today. We are working with a collaboration with companies like Enelix in Italy, Lafarge Olsem all around the world, Centrica, Daimler, Kia. Actually, I'm happy to announce that today we started a pilot with Kia in Israel, And the kickoff was, me and my co-founder, Knan Aviv, arrived today with the new Kia Neo electric vehicle using Make My Day, and we do charging on the way in a most efficient way. Our advantages against the competition that we use a unique algorithm and unique data that give us the option to give the full solution, including the needs and the agenda of the drivers, and not only to see charging station on the map, that it's not really the full solution for our customer. Let's talk about CO2 emissions. So today, 25% of the CO2 emissions are coming from transportation. And by shifting to electric transportation, offer a major solution in cutting millions of tons of CO2 emissions per year. But in Make My Day, we're not just talking. Our technology was actually tested and got labeled and awarded that Make My Day technology can really reduce the CO2 and protect the environment. A few words about the company. Myself, I'm the CEO. Knan Aviv is the CTO. We both have many years of experience, both in business and technology, and we have a team of experts in algorithm and data. If I need to summarize Make My Day in one slide, so we have a working product in one of the most growing markets today in the automotive industry. We have already commercial deals and projects with the big major company in the world. We just actually, 2 weeks ago, finalized investment agreement leading by Capital Nature and with big strategic companies like Chevron, that we will launch the US market working with Chevron together. So we have now the investment. We now want to launch more countries and help more EV drivers and more fleets to shift to electric vehicle and reduce CO2 and save money. So thank you very much, and please make my day.
I'm not sure. Did you explain your business model?
Sure. So our business model is a B2B license deal. We actually get paid by each car, each user, but we are very attractive for our customers because we calculate that when we work with fleets, we actually help them to save around between $40 to $100 per month per vehicle, depending of the fleet. So we are they're happy to pay us per vehicle when we have saving for them a lot of money.
And what is your barrier against someone simply replicating what you're doing?
Sorry?
What is the barrier against someone replicating what you're doing?
I don't think we are 2 years actually developing the technology. We have a very unique algorithm. It's a dynamic algorithm. It can use different kind of data and then provide back the solution. So it will be now, I think we are in a very high step of the technology, data, and we have already the connection with the big players in the market.
I'm not sure I understood your what you're doing in your algorithm. What is the optimization that you are doing?
Okay. Think about it now. You need to drive from, let's say, from like you have today, from Tel Aviv to Eilat. The existing solution today is actually, you can see the charging station on the map. But now you need to think, I have like 40%. Do you have enough battery to reach the next charging station? Let's say you say, okay, I can do it by myself. You reach the charging station, now someone else is already charged. You need to wait like 1 hour next to the charging station and then charge again for you, like let's say 40 minutes. What you will do during this time. And then you arrive to the charging station just next to your house, and how much you will charge? You will charge 100%, 40%, 20%. We Make My Day, everything is already inside automatically. We will lead you to the charging station. We will book for you the charging station for the time you will arrive. I know when you will arrive there. You don't need to wait if someone else. I will tell you how much to charge. It's very important. Charging outside in the public charging station, it's much more expensive than charging in your house. I will tell you charge only 20%. Save time, save money. And this is actually working in real time. Now think about fleets. Take all 1,000 of vehicles of fleets. I'm saving for them all this cost by optimization of the charging, pricing, and the routing.
Thank you.
And do you also take traffic matter in your calculation?
Yes, of course. We take a lot of parameters in doing the optimization. We are connecting to, of course, in the end, we are not complete navigation system or mapping like Waze. We are connecting Waze, we are connecting data regarding traffic. We're having there's a lot of parameters in the end to get the best predictive routing, and including weather, including if it's going up and down, it's very affecting the battery. If you're using your AC or not using the AC, and of course traffic. So we take those data in the end to give you in real time the full solution.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Success. Our almost last company, RoadSense, making cities smarter. RoadSense, making cities smarter and thus more efficiently run and more sustainable. Please.
Okay. Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Baruch. I'm the CEO of RoadSense. Actually, I was sitting right here and I thought if I should change my pitch, because after what I've heard today about not meeting the 2025 net zero for cities and about green energy, I thought I will keep my pitch, but I will sharpen it a little bit. So let me start with a fact. Today, in this technological era where we have smartphones, where we have smart TVs, smart everything, we don't have smart streets. We don't have smart roads. And basically, with thousands of cameras and terabytes of data from any corner of the city, with 1,000 resources of data, sensors, whatever, the cities are almost blind when it comes to the public space. This is the list for a couple of tasks the city needs to handle every day for the drivers, for the residents. Now, look at it for a second, because I don't have much time. And tell me how long it will take us to solve half of that. Eternity, by the way. And right now I'm talking about cities, and we are in green energy, renewable energy conference, and I'm talking about cities. Do you know why? Because cities consume approximately 70% of global energy. This is where we need to focus on
recording in progress.
Reduction of energy and decarbonization in the cities. Our solution is based on these nice boxes, which are radar-based radars. When what we are doing, we actually collecting data from the public space about people, about vehicles, transportation, bicycle lanes, whatever, scooters, whatever we need to know. Because we are not using cameras, we're using radars, we're not harming privacy in any way, which means that we can be in any corner of the city. Then we upload the data to our cloud, which means that we don't need the city's infrastructure, okay? And then we can serve many departments in the city. For example, we can collect data about people for safety, about transportation, and much more. Even at the end of this process, we can use the system to decarbonize the city, or to reduce the energy consumption, and much more. The thing is that we will not provide data to the city, okay? Data is not information. When it comes to city, information comes in the shape of insights and real-time alerts. Another myth that I want to talk about is how costly is to make a smart city. Well, it's amazing, because it's very cheap to make smart cities today, as we don't use the city's infrastructure. We can, if you look at the long term, then cities will get this I would say, this tool, their solution, almost for free. The thing with our solution is that we can, with one sensor, we can solve countless use cases in the city. If you look at streets, we can count people and micromobility. We can count vehicles on highways and alert on accidents, on vehicles on the shoulders, and then many other hazards. We can even support autonomous vehicles because once you have a smart infrastructure that is I would say, not in the car itself, okay? Because like as I said before, cars are also very smart, but infrastructure is not. That's why it's very difficult for vehicles to drive in a human-related environment. Once you have a smart infrastructure and you have a smart car, then it's a perfect combination. Now, let's say that our customer or our city needs to get this information. The information in our solution will reach the customer, okay, to his phone, to his control room, to his office, wherever he likes to get it, he will get it. Right now, a little bit about our traction. We are looking at a B2B2G market, and we are starting our initial sales in the US and Canada, and we're looking also to Mexico. If you look at our competitive landscape, we are the only solution right now that can provide real-time alerts without harming privacy. Our traction, right now we have four different projects in Tel Aviv with 4 different use cases. We are starting next Monday with the Israeli Railways, and soon we will start also here in Eilat, and thank you for that. We can't do anything without our amazing team that are really looking to make the world a better place. And last thing that I wanted to say, our system is up and running, okay? We can make the energy thing, the sensitivity to the climate right now in the cities. It's not so expensive. In the long term, it's almost free. And we can do it today for the sake of our planet. Thank you very much. Questions, please?
Maybe you can say specifically on the projects that you mentioned, the Eilat and the others. What do you do there?
Sorry, I can...
Maybe you can explicitly tell us what you do in these projects, like Eilat and others.
What we will do...
What is the project about?
What will be the project about?
Yes.
I'm just not hearing you very well, sorry.
In Eilat, what is the project about? You gave four projects. What do you do there?
Okay, the municipality wants to know several things in the city. First, how many trucks are entering the city? Then you can tell it. How the parking lots along the promenade here are full, in which times, which will be the best time to find a parking lot. I can tell you, with the same system, we are doing the same with the Israeli train. We will count people on the platform and on the wagons, and we can enhance the passenger's journey in the train. The passenger will know before the train enters the station where is the best place to stand on the platform to get an empty seat on the train.
Can you please elaborate a little?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Can you please elaborate a little bit about CO2 reduction potential by using this product?
Yes. Now, imagine that it's not actually it's the reality. Cities today are not managed at the public space. Okay. Once you fine-tune everything, you know how much energy you need to invest to empty the trash bins, for the public transportation. When everything sits in its place, then all the numbers are all the stars are aligning, actually. And then you get, by the end of this process, this carbon reduction and the energy reduction, by the end of this process, not at the beginning. But this process can be extremely fast. And that's the thing, okay? Once the city has this knowledge, it can improve it and remeasure it again, okay? Until it gets the right, I would say, balance in the city.
And And how do you deal with privacy issue? With the privacy issue.
Ah, okay. We're using radars, okay? So we see everybody as objects. We don't see faces, we don't see license plates. This is not a law enforcement tool. We don't know how to enforce, okay? We don't know how many men or women are on the street right now. But we will know if somebody is going to jump outside into a car and alert someone at the municipality or the person in charge.
Thank you
Sorry?
very much.
Last question, Svea.
And the regular question, what is your business model? How much does it cost?
Ah, it's easy. Just sell subscriptions. That's it. Okay. We will sell.
Subscription per what? Per radar, per truck, per what?
No.
Per user?
What we are planning to do is two things. First is to mount as many radars on the street and to charge according to them. And this is an ever-learning system, which means that all the time we will offer new tools or new components in to the city based on machine learning or the next technologies. Okay, so the system will be always updated, or ever-learning system, and we will charge based on the components that the city will need to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.